Hello, guys. This is Kiko from King's Mindset 808. I have Charis here. She's the owner and the founder of Humanity Hale, and I wanted to say thank you to my first show.
Right on. I am honored that I'm your first show. What a
Yeah.
blessing. Thank you for having me. How
No,
exciting.
I just wanted to say I am super impressed with your program that you have here for our youths, and I want you to expose that or help you spread the word on it. And I just wanted you to kind of like explain basically the first question would be, what is what you call Humanity Holly?
Humanity Hale. Humanity Hale is trauma support programs for Big Island youth. We have 5 programs within our program. So there's group and individual therapy, arts, Hawaiian arts. We have art therapy, life skills, abuse prevention, diversity training. And then we just kind of rotate all of those programs.
Okay.
And so every single week is a new lesson. So if there was a kid that wanted to join the program and they saw our flyer perhaps 6 months into it or a few weeks into it, they can join anytime because it's always something new, right? So
Okay.
group individual therapy, these kids don't have a space to express themselves. Sometimes it's the first time they've ever talked about their traumas out loud.
Oh, okay, okay.
So that's it's important for us to give them that opportunity to be able to release, because we always talk about trauma being poison in the body. So if you hold on to it, what does that manifest into? Alcoholism, drug use, self-harm, bullying. So we feel like giving people or kids the space to feel safe and talk about what they're going through, and then have support of not only their mentors who, I mean, all of us have gone through extreme traumas, and there's always somebody there to relate to and can give you advice in how they got through it. But it's important for them to have peer support too, right? Because
Right.
you think about when you're little and you go through something, you think you're the only one.
Yes, you always feel like, yeah, I'm the only one going through this, and yeah, it'd be nice to have like a mentor or someone who went through it to help you coach through that situation, right? So it's like a place where you could release the valve. Rele-
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. Because that's
Oh,
the first part, right? Is
right.
just being able to say it out loud so it doesn't have control over you.
Yeah.
So it's helpful that we speak in group, and then we can offer compassion and share with each other. And then if they have a really hard day, we can go have one-on-ones. But we also have licensed therapists on site for those days so that they can go and really really hammer it out if they need more help. And then we have free therapy for them outside of the program. So if they want to talk to a counselor, we have that set up.
So you have a free program for that?
Oh,
Free.
it's all free.
It's all
Everything's free.
free.
So
Wow.
I work 3 jobs to self-fund Humanity Holly to start. It was all on me. And I was the, I went through 3 boards. I
Wow.
had no employees. It was just me. And then I found the most incredible people that magnetized towards me, that had the same heart-centered mission as me, that were volunteering. And none of us were paid. It was just, we wanted to see a better Hawaii. Like, this is the place that raised us. How have we no systems set in place still to this day to be helping the kids, right? I mean, I can't tell you how many grants we went after, and it's kids are always the last on the priority list, and it feels
Wow.
so backwards. And so, sometimes you just got to be the boots on the ground and do it yourself. And we're lucky that we live in a very amazing community. I mean, because this is an island, right? So what affects one affects all of us.
Wow.
Because if we're not helping our kids, then there's more crime, more poverty, more homelessness. So it has to start with us. It's the only way.
Wow. I to start something like this, right? I'm thinking about, man, to start something like this. You decided to start this, correct?
Correct.
You have something deep in you that makes you want to do that. And I'm always the guy who like, what make you like literally like what made you want to do it? Like what had happened? Is there something that happened, you know, in your life growing up where now this is something that you want to pursue to help others? Or I'm not too sure, but like, what made you want to do this? This is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. For for the longest time, when I was young, I just went through a lot of depression, sexual abuse, physical abuse, um, dated really abusive partners, carried on the patterns of what I had already gone through as a child. So, and for me, it was those cycles weren't ending, and so that turned into alcoholism. It's any way that I could numb, I was trying to, and I had to crawl out of it by myself. I didn't have any help, but it was just I got sick of myself, and I was like, there has to be something better because I just would feel worse and worse. And so, for me, I think the trigger point was I'm born and raised here. We didn't have anything like this for kids when I was growing up, and it was something that I really needed. And then I moved to the mainland for 10 years, and I was volunteering the last 2 years I was there with a group called Awaken Arts, and they would go to a military camp and teach the kids art therapy. So kind of like how our what is it called? Youth Challenge over
Right.
here.
Yeah.
So like that's their version, their military camp. They got to live there. And they were like, do art with the kids. Maybe in a couple weeks they'll open up to you. And I'm like, no, that doesn't feel right to me. We're going to sit down in a group and I'm going to be like, these are all my traumas. This is everything I've ever gone through. I'm not ashamed of it. This is what happened to me and this is how I'm healing now.
Wow.
And because I did that, every single girl in the group started talking, and they were like, "I've never told anybody this." And these girls were scrapping with each other, but like they came together and they're like, "Oh, well, we have common grounds."
You guys have
right?
something in common.
Yeah.
Unreal, yeah.
And the first girl that talked, she said that I was prostituting when I was 12 because my parents were drug addicts and couldn't feed my brother and sister. And this girl was like, "Oh, very similar. Me too. Sexual abuse, rape. And they're babies. They're like really, really young." So that changed my life. And then I was like, and then I asked their officers. I was like, "So what's their transitional plan? What's going on when they're Paul here?" And they said, "Oh, that's not our problem." Kind of like they don't. They
on their own.
yeah. And so I'm like, okay, no, we're going to do something. So I was setting this up in the mainland and I was like, okay, we got to have these healing programs, but I was also getting them free college education, GED, getting them jobs. But if they wanted all of that, they would have to participate in the healing portion. We were a month away from launching. COVID hit. So I was like, okay, mom and dad, I'm coming home for 2 months. And then, this island's like your mom, yeah. She like tells you when it's time to come home.
You play a long time. Come on, Miranda.
Yeah. So I listened and I was like, you know what? It was supposed to be here all along. And that wasn't in vain. I was able to get those kids help that they needed. But for me, it was like, of course it should be here. It's so apparent that I couldn't believe I was gone for 10 years and come home and we still have nothing. There's no group foster home. There's no community center. There's no housing for kids aging out of foster care. There's nothing for support. Of course, what are these babies going to do? You're so young. You're 18. You're in the foster care system. You're 18 and they're like, here's a backpack. Good luck. Even in transitional programs, you have to have so many qualifications in order to get housing vouchers. And even then, like, you're going to be on your own after all that time. And what are you going to do with yourself? You're so young. You don't have anybody to love you and give you those basic human rights of feeling safe and seen. And so, for me, it was a non-negotiable. And it took a really long time to get it up and running, but and I heard a lot of no's and I got rejected and I was doing the wrong paperwork and I was bleeding money for this. And I was working day to night to try to get it up and running. And, one day it all clicked and everything fell in place. And
Isn't it crazy? Like, your journey is so specific to where now we helping people. It's like you was made for this. You know what I mean? Like, under my umbrella of Kicks Mindset 808, we got a brand called Rebuild. Your pain is your passion. You literally turned your pain into something passionate about. You passionate about helping people to help the next generation and a whole generation, right? And part of the passion is, anything you're passionate about, it's gonna hurt. Like, you gonna feel pain going through a lot of these passions. Like, even trying to start up this business, the no's and trying to raise the money and all that kind of, you gotta go through. If you're really passionate about something, you gotta go through all these hard times to come out. at the end, and just to hear your story, I'm getting inspired because it's amazing to me. I mean, no wonder you wanted to hold this story from me before we even start. Oh, you bug.
It's early. I'm gonna see if I can get a tear out of
You
you.
going probably? I still no. Wow, like literally, like what she has here for the next generation and the stuff that she's struggling with. Like my thing is, you can relate to them, and that's huge. Not like somebody making a program and guessing how it feels. You know how it feels, right?
And that's why I think it works, right? Because
Right.
it's like they tell me like I'm on my 10th therapist and I don't get it because it's some person from the mainland that doesn't understand my struggles and what I've gone through.
Right.
So why am I gonna listen to them? And I'm like, fair enough, you know. And I'm not dissing therapy because
Right.
therapy can work for a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people. I wish we had more representation. You know, I don't see a ton of therapists who are local, you know, and there's nothing wrong with whatever people choose, but I think that when it comes to people wanting to open up, they want to know that like, and why should I share with you? You're not
Mm-hmm.
going to share with me, but
Right.
I I tell them all the time, I'm like, your trauma is your superpower. I don't
Right.
regret any of my trauma or the things that I've been through because
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have created Humanity Hale. And it can be your superpower if you let it, but if you
Right.
fall into your victimhood, that's when all of, you know, your alcoholism or whatever you do to deal with is going to come up because you're not releasing anything. You're just trying to shove it down and cover it up, and that never works because it's always going to manifest itself, no matter, you know, carrying on into the cycles of your parents or
Mm.
you.
Generational.
Exactly.
Generational. Yeah.
Exactly.
I see
You
that too.
know, so it's just we got to stop that now, like the abuse, right? I mean, we grew up, I mean, I know I did, getting dirty lickings and that's
Yeah,
how it
part of
was,
it. Yeah,
and
yeah. That's
you
how it is.
know, that's how we learn respect.
Right.
But I mean, we're not talking about that. We're talking about like heavy
Heavy.
traumas,
Yeah.
and these kids are going into hiding because there's TROs on one of the parents. Usually, one of the kids has a parent who's addicted to something, right, or is abusive heavily to the other parent, and they have to go into hiding or whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
you know, or they don't have both parents. Tons of foster kids in our program, just and being passed around, being passed around. And so, you know, these programs, so that was just group and individual therapy. That was the first one.
Right.
The art therapy is just to kind of express,
Let them
you know, let them go,
Let them out.
all kinds of whatever you want to do. You know, the project that I really love is telling the kids, like, okay, who hurt you? Like, what is that person? Like, go back to that place and we'll visualize. And I'm like, it's not to relive it, it's just to know that, you know, if we don't have this opportunity to release, then it's just gonna stay there. So, you know, we take these canvases, we write these angry letters. I'm like, you could do whatever you want, use Sharpie, paint in black and red, and then we paint a blank slate over it. And through the weeks, we create beautiful art over it. And it's just a representation of not everything tragic has to stay that way. We can transmute it into something beautiful if we allow that to happen. So, you know, that's a really big part of our program. And we just do art all over, wherever we go to galleries, we go do tie-dye workshops, make jewelry, you know, just to have
That's cool.
fun too.
Yeah, yeah.
'Cause a lot
It
of them,
sounds like fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know even the mentors are like, oh, it feels like we're at adult summer camp with the
Yeah, it's
kids.
pretty fun, man. Oh,
Kiko
man.
wants to come. You can come, Kiko.
I comment. I comment. Oh man. So like, oh, I was gonna ask next. Because you kind of answer a lot of my questions.
I have more to say. You want?
I would let you. Yeah. No, I know your pain, and I know what you're going through. That is powerful. That is so powerful. You could change people's lives when you can connect with someone that you can look dead in the eye and goes, I don't think you're lying to me. And when I explain something to you, when give me the feedback, it's like, whoa, I can tell. I can tell. So, you know, any kids out there who is struggling, who need to let things out. I mean, this program is amazing, amazing. Amazing. And I know that you guys are starting like an event, correct? Like on the
21st of
21st, on the
October.
21st of October.
Yeah,
Can you explain that a little bit more? And why you
absolutely.
doing that?
Yes. So we'll just go trigger warning here. So if anybody has any kind of things around abuse, just just want to let you know. We had 5 foster kids come into the program,
Mm-hmm.
and they were in a current foster home, brothers and sisters in one foster home. Um, those kids told us that their foster mom was making the girls strip down naked to beat them.
What the?
She had a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old, and she was punching them in the face and the stomach. One of the little boys, she made him eat his own feces in front of his siblings to teach him a lesson. And we tried to call CPS and report this, and because we didn't have their physical address, they hung up on us. So it kind of shows you how backwards the system is. We cannot get help. It got so bad in the household. One of the oldest siblings finally called the cops, and they got taken away. But they said she could take parenting classes and get them back in 3 months.
What?
And it lit a fire under me. I was so upset. I was like, this lady should be in jail. Are you kidding me? Like, how is this even a thing? And so, when I got the statistics that Hawaii Island has 1/3 of all of the foster kids on all the islands combined,
What?
and the statistics show up as the foster kids, 75% are reported as malnourished. So it shows you who's doing this for a paycheck and who's actually doing this because
That
they
is
care
sad.
about our kids.
That is
It's
sad.
so sad.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna start a group foster home then, because I'm not gonna let these babies come in here with no protection
Mhm.
because they're turning a blind eye because they don't have another house to put them in. That's not a reason. And then these county grants come in and they're like, oh, this is for the homeless initiative. We have $6 million twice a year. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, let's start with the kids so that
Mhm.
if you're starting with the kids, right, you think about you get them at 18, you
Right.
still have a high success rate of them not being on the streets, starting their addictions
Right.
already. You are in this good space to rehabilitate and to give them life skills and to place them in jobs and help them with college. Um, but if you're just giving housing to people and you're not giving them any sort of rehabilitation programs or
Mhm.
helping them with their mental health, and they're just like, oh, we have money, here's a house for you, how's that going to work?
Right.
I don't get it. I think it should always start with the kids. But we applied for the grant, we didn't get it, and they're like, oh, we actually decided that this money is for employees who are working with homeless people. And I'm like, okay. And they send you to the housing development grant. They're like, oh, actually this grant is for people who have um, buildings set in place for 5 years already. And I was like, okay, so the homeless grant is not for the homeless, and the housing development grant is not to develop houses. And then they just run you around in circles. And I'm like, you know what? It has to be our community then. It's the only way,
Mm.
because our community can get it done. I
Oh
know
yeah.
that this place cares about their kids as much as I
Oh
do.
yeah.
And all it takes is one person to hear what you have to say and align with your mission. That's
Right.
like, how can we help with this? So, this is our second annual group foster home fundraising event.
Mhm.
And all of that goes into its own separate account that never gets touched until we reach our goal of creating our home.
Okay. So what is the goal?
And 3 million
Three
is our
million.
goal. It's our goal.
Okay.
But there could be people that are like, hey, I have 5 acres of land. And then I'm talking to these people from Ocean View that build these small houses for
Mm.
$15,000. There's a ways to do
Do it.
this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just feel like it's gonna come from our community at this point. I wish there was more help from the people set in place to give us help, but it's not happening. So it's us. That's what we're doing. So Fall Fest fundraiser, October 21st. It's actually gonna be, oh my gosh, it's so fun. The
I
community is showing up.
I
It
cannot
is
wait. I cannot wait. I want to go. I'm going to participate, But as
awesome.
far as like knowing the community, I've been in Kona for about 4 years, and the community, the Big Island community is so strong to help. I mean, I'm a recipient of community help with my son. He had TBI. He almost passed away. His name is Rain, and we had an event with Vic and their crew, and they held an event here, and the support for my son is awesome, and we just had at Tony on the corner, we just had a Maui Love type of concert, benefit concert. A lot of people showed up to help with that. Um, but our next generation. We trying to be proactive on getting them back, getting them back to be productive, community members. And your program is great because if we all can help, it takes a village to grow up a kid, right? Like it takes
Absolutely.
everybody. So,
Absolutely.
the $3 million, is not far fetched. You know, like if we all work together, we can help change on whole generation of pain and suffering and all these kids who, I mean, there's not their fault that they grew up in this,
Oh my gosh. And
right?
they take a lot of that on too, thinking that it is. And so you really have to shift that within them and show them that they have a superpower.
Right. You know, as the saying goes, they never choose to be born.
Right.
They never choose this situation. They had to go through that situation. You gotta be tough to go through that. You gotta be a different animal to go through these kind of things. And the trauma, the trauma, the stuff that they go through, the trauma they go through, and just getting passed on from family to family, and then you reach somebody and they're abusing you, making you do all this crazy stuff. They don't deserve these things.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like they deserve a place where we could help them.
Yeah. Yeah. We have one little girl in our program right now. She's 11, but her father raped her from the time she was a baby, like a baby, and she's now been in 6 foster homes. He's still not in jail. He's living in Ocean View. Her mom protects him. She still lives with him. And after her 6 foster home, she's finally getting adopted, which is beautiful. But she comes in every single weekend with a beautiful smile on her face, and she's so happy and resilient. And you look at that and you're like, okay, because we go through things and we're like, the traffic's bad and this and that. I'm like, you don't have problems. You don't. These babies are, and they just don't have the basic human rights of just being loved, right? And we have to do some work in the program because it's important, but we also try to take them on field trips and they have fun because they have to grow up so fast that they don't even get that. And so it's a big thing for us to make sure that they can just be young and still have their innocence,
Right.
and it's, even if it has been taken away from them, we let them know, like, that's your choice to not let them have that power over you.
Right.
And so it's, yeah. I mean, we just went whole canine camping last weekend, and
What?
they're just,
Having fun?
oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it's so running me ragged, but it's worth it.
Oh man. So I think like the pain is so great. How I feel. Pain is so great that if you are able to go through this program and learn how to wipe this slate clean as much as possible and build off that, just because the pain was so great, man, you must be so feeling so liberated or so powerful in yourself to get over it and now look at life as a new life. I can build something new, but the trauma you went through, you could use that energy to build you a great life. And when you're in that, I'm just speaking maybe for you too. Maybe when you learn to wipe the slate clean and get over that, that's why I think you're so resilient. Like, no, I cannot get you grants. No, this and that. And you're like, okay, I'll find another way. I'll find another way. I'll find another way. I think it's because you learned how to wipe it clean and move forward. And that part of your life was way harder than the nose that you're getting right now. Is that kind of?
100%.
Yeah?
100%. Yeah. Yeah. And it's not for me, I don't look at it like, oh my gosh, look at this thing. Like, I was put on this earth to do this. It is my own superpower to love the trauma out of kids. I 100% know that. Maybe I don't have a degree in psychology or whatever. I have people for that, but I know that they listen to me because I understand them. And I can flip it and transmute it, and they can look at it from a different lens.
Right. I having a degree is awesome because you got to do a lot of stuff to get your degree, but first-hand experience is hard to replace.
Oh my gosh,
Hard to
100%,
replace.
100%. And then the things that I don't have, our community fills in. They're like, I have people that are like, I'm a horse therapist, want to come do equine therapy, So it's like they have it.
Yeah.
They have everything that they need. When we get this house, I'll make sure we're fully staffed and we have tutors and all the things that they need. But I'm just the Humanity Hale mama, sister, friend, like whatever I need to fill in for the gaps, that's what I'm there for.
Awesome.
And if they have 24/7 trauma support with me, so if they feel like they're gonna cut or have self-harm at 2 in the morning, I'm like, call auntie. I will stay on the phone with you for 2 hours. I don't care how long it takes, but I would rather you call me. You're not bothering me. Like, let's talk through this, way rather than you hurting yourself, because it's not going to solve anything. You're going to feel a temporary release, just like I did when I drank, and then it's that much worse in the morning. So, and they do, and they'll call me.
That's awesome that they call you, get to help them.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have kids that have, stopped. Like, it's been a year since the last time they self-harmed, and so, it's really, you can see it when they come in day one and they're like not talking and they're curling up into a tiny little ball and they're covered from head to toe because they don't want to show all the cuts on their body, and to just thriving and being comfortable in their own skin sometimes for the first time in their life, and to watch that transition, even if it's just in one person, you're like, wow, like this is working. It's really working. And so that's the motivation to push me forward no matter how tired I am. It's it's what keeps me going and gets me up in the morning.
Wow. I was looking on your website, and then there. If you guys wanted to volunteer, there's a section for that, correct? And then if you wanted to help donate, there's a place to donate. Yeah, www.humanityhale.org, correct?
Correct.
And also scroll through it, and I seen that you guys have social media.
Yep. See, Humanity Hale, also Venmo's Humanity Hale. Everything's connected to Humanity Hale. It's a 501c3, so 100% of all donations go back straight to the kids.
Wow, and I heard that is hard to get too.
Yeah, I filled out all the wrong paperwork and paid like $700 for this one that I didn't even need, and they don't reimburse you. So it's like I made all the mistakes in the beginning, and
oh wow,
yeah, but we got it done. It took me about a year to get that paperwork through. But
that's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
It takes a while to get at that program. Wow.
Well, just learning everything from scratch by yourself is not the easiest way if you don't have a mentor. But it's I feel like I made all the mistakes so that I can't. If something comes up, I'm like, I got it. I know how to work the website. I built this, and I can do this.
And that's the difference with experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did them the wrong way. Believe me when I tell you, this is the way.
Learn from me.
Yeah, my pain. You help you there. Oh man, is there anything else you wanted to share? Because I'm blown away at this point. Honestly, I'm blown away with just starting their purpose.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's just everything we do is for these kids. So it's when people want to support us, just know that it all goes back to them. We're trying to find a van right now because right now we're relying on like 5 or 6 mentors to pack all the kids in the car to go on field trips. There's also some kids that can't come to a program because if they don't have a mentor to be able to go and grab them, then
they're stuck.
Yeah, especially like if you're coming from Uluvini, who's helping like the homeless families get off the street. A lot of them don't have computers or transportation, or so we want to make sure that if a kid needs us, that nobody's left behind just due to lack of transportation, things like that. And we feed them every week because they tell us at Uluvini, like sometimes when they go to school, that's their only meal for the day. It's really hard to rehabilitate like a whole family living off the streets, and so we make sure that we feed them and send them extra food home. And so there's those things that we need, and for programs we need art supplies and whatnot. So if there is donations coming in, those are the basic things that it goes to. And then are taking on the foster home, that's just phase 1 for us. So when that's complete, we're looking for 5 acres of land so we can already have the group foster home, and then build the community center, and then build housing for kids aging out of foster care. So we want all of that all kind of together in its own separate entity. And I know it's never been done before, kind of like having and how we're running it is because there is no license for a group foster home. You can't even apply for one here. Yeah. Wow. So the way that you can get around this is you are allowed 7 foster kids per foster caregiver. So we will have multiple foster caregivers on this land getting licensed and having their own separate living quarters, but fully staffed. And so, we would have whole like the support that we need so nobody gets burnt out. And I know that that's probably like, well, you can't do it that way, but why not? Your way is not working, so why can't we do it this way? And we are in Ohana already. Like our mentors, our kids, we do everything together. So if those mentors want to stay on as foster parents and we're raising these kids together, I think it's beautiful. And maybe it's not done before, but I'm here to shift things, and we need to change the way that the laws are, because it's not working. It's not working, and we need to raise awareness about that. And I'm probably going to get scrutiny for me speaking up on whatever, and that's fine. I don't care. I'm so sick of the politics and the dirtiness that goes on in our government, because it's like, you have grants that come up and they're going to the same programs and the things that are not building anything new. And then you come to find out, like, the head of this county department is best friends with the person at this. And then they get all the grant money, and you're like, come on, you guys. Like, why are you giving it to the same people over and over again? You give it to somebody new, we're going to create something new. And you should just look at me. Like, I went a year, I would not take payment. I was like, I'm not, everything goes back to the kids. My board had to force me to take a small, tiny paycheck to survive, because they're like, you're going to get burnt out. And I fought it. But I'm like, you should question if I'm not doing that, because you know that I'm in this for the right reasons.
The right reasons.
And some people got it. Money is their God. And so there's nothing that can come from greediness. And if you're not using what you have to help the people around you, then the community fails, And I think it's important to know, because you can move here and live in your small little bubble and be like, Hawaii's great, but you don't see the other side, the huge part of our islands that are poverty-stricken and addicted to drugs, and the kids are suffering, and we can't live in our bubble forever. It's just, you want to be here, you have a responsibility. It's your kuleana to give back to your community. And I always think it starts with the kids. That's just my main thing. So, I'll keep fighting the good fight until we figure it out.
Thank you. Right? Wow. Amazing. First show. And it's like, boom, like, whoa, this is a really good show. I just met you like 5 minutes ago, or before we started this, and then just talking started, we kind of clicked off, and you have good energy, man. You have really good energy. I really appreciate it. Guys, if you've seen any value into what Charis is bringing to the table for our youths, especially with the ones going through trauma and all this stuff, please share, because we never know who knows who, right?
That's true.
You never know who knows who. Not everybody has money to donate, but just a share. You might know somebody who might know somebody who might not know somebody with 5 acres. You never know.
Right.
So I appreciate your time. I appreciate what you're doing. Amazing. And I just want to tell you guys out there, please share this story. Let's get this out as far as we can. Let's help our kids. Let's help our youth of the Big Island. And let's help this program. On the 21st, if you guys swing by the event, I'll be there. I have a booth. I'll have some clothing to sell, but 100% of the profit is going to go to these guys.
Thank you, Kiko.
Yeah.
Thank you for what you're doing too. I appreciate you're so community involved, and we just need more people like you. So I appreciate it. Your podcast is going to blow up. No pressure. No pressure.
I just want to give value, and and I like meet cool people like you. I would never meet you if we never even talk about this.
Yeah.
So I'm blessed to meet you, and we're all blessed to meet you. The kids is blessed to have you, and I pray that your vision. I pray that whatever you visualizing for this program is nothing compared to actually what's going to happen, if that makes sense.
Yeah, Absolutely. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, you have a blessed day.
You too.
Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for watching our first episode of King's Mindset 808. Aloha.
Aloha.
Wow.